Hey guys, Equinox here, and this is going to be a video going over kind of like the new affixes, their impact, if they're good or not, and how the CC change in the recent interview is going to affect M+. So let's go over the affix really quick. First of all, just a blanket statement on these. These really only affect tanks and healers. They genuinely don't affect DPS gameplay other than maybe getting one shot when you get the magic one. So the four affixes are they have like a kiss curse effect. The main like effects you have to worry about is the negative. It's 20% increased magic damage on on mana mobs, and then there's 20% ignore armor on non-mana mobs, and then there's thorned, which is just basically you hit a mob, does damage back to you, physical damage. This, when it got tested, was really bad because it would proc off of certain dots, not every single dot. As a brew, it didn't proc off of Rushing Jade Wind or Spinning Crane Kick. Like, it didn't really do too much to me. But, and then the last one is 30% haste on the mobs, on mana mobs. So, the two caster one's pretty crappy for tanks. You just take more damage, spells go out quicker, CC is less valuable, which I'll go over in a little bit. And yeah, the kick requirement is going to be absolutely insane. They really need to tone down casters. Like, it's absolutely crazy. But yeah, and then so all these affixes have like a negative that mostly only affect tanks and healers. It's either more damage to the tank, or slightly more party damage, or just literally all tank damage. The 20% magic one I think needs to be toned down to 10%. 20% is a lot. That's like a full key level or more. It's like perma having bolstering on a caster. Like it's perma having one stack of bolster on a caster. That's not good. Like, that's not like fun gameplay. Like, some weeks you're just getting destroyed harder than others. And for tanks that don't have like insane magic mitigation, like VDH or Warrior do with spell block up, not good. Like, I don't know. I just think it's not a good affix. The armor one is actually kind of irrelevant. For all tanks that I played, it didn't really feel like it did anything. So I don't know if it was like bugged or what, but yeah, the armor one is the easiest one by far. The haste one, so we're going to talk about CC now. The haste one makes the CC and kick requirement absolutely insane, because so the CC change they're doing is they're making a lot more casts not go on cooldown when you CC it, which means they're just going to keep chain casting it over and over until you kick it. This is primarily a nerf to caster comps, because you just do not have the kicks to do some pulls anymore. And there's a lot of casters in these new dungeons, especially City of Echoes and City of Threads. Insane amount of casters. And yeah, I just don't think the game is balanced enough around with kicks to do that. Especially because you can't really afford to just pull one pack at a time in most dungeons, especially at like a high key level. Like, most of this perspective is from my perspective, which is like higher keys. So you can't really afford to just pull one pack at a time and deal with casters. You kind of just have to have enough CC to deal with the chain. So that combined with the haste, you're just like literally just chain casting stuff. So I hope they rethink this change. It's really not good with the current design of the game. There's just too many casters. There's too much CC in the game as it is. So even if they do make that change, people are just going to run a super heavy CC comp and not have to deal with it anyway. So if they want people to not CC so much, they should just remove CC in the game and then keep the rules how they are on live, where some things go on cooldown with CC. Yeah, I don't think that direction solves anything. It just makes keys more frustrating. So we'll see how it pans out. Maybe they nerf stuff enough to where it actually does feel good. Hopefully they do. But overall, the new affixes, let's talk about the positives of them. So the positives, each week they have like a different damage typing that they buff. Some is like Holy Shadow, some is like Nature, some is Arcane, some's like 30% Fizz, or 30% Bleed, sorry, and you ignore 30% armor. So those are all good. But the issue is it's only on some mobs and not bosses. As you guys know, bosses are a huge part of the dungeon timer, and a lot of mobs aren't mana mobs, and a lot of mobs are mana mobs. So sometimes you'll have like 50% of the dungeon not affected by the buff. And that's bad because the buff is only 10%, so it actually doesn't make much of a difference in the meta. because classes are almost never within like 3 to 5% of each other to where that would actually matter. And again, it's not on bosses, so the fact that the bosses don't get the damage taken increase, it's a lot of time difference. So I really don't like the kiss effect, and I think the curse effects are just heavily weighted on tanks and healers, which isn't really good design in my opinion, because it's just heavily punishing one role, or one or two roles more than the other. I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully they iterate on it. There is affix changes coming in the next week or two. They posted an interview with Ian, and he was talking about it, and we don't know what it is, but hopefully they're nerfing or reworking Sanguine and Bolstering. Raging, not my favorite, because it pretty much requires you to play Evoker on most weeks, depending on dungeon design, so I don't know. Hopefully they have good affix changes. I hope they remove Tyrannical and Fort. I think Tyrannical is just like, it's either too easy or too hard. It's never really an in-between with certain dungeons, so yeah, I don't know, we'll see. I'm kind of excited about War Within. I do not like any of the new affixes. I think they're just boring. Like, they're very boring. They don't really affect your gameplay at all, except the haste one with kicks. Otherwise, the tank is just taking more damage every week, and that's it. Like, that's pretty much all that happens. But yeah, I am excited for Brew at least. Brew has a couple build varieties actually. I've been testing Anvil and Stave out with high tolerance and special delivery instead of Ox Stance, and it feels really good in heavy melee situations, and you do a lot of special delivery damage. I was getting special delivery up to like 10 or 12% of my damage in a big pull, so hopefully that goes well. And plus testing should be this week. I will be covering the new beta build as well, either tonight or tomorrow whenever it comes out, and I'll make a YouTube video about it, and hopefully we get to see those affix changes, and we'll talk about, in theory, if they're good or not, and then we'll actually playtest them whenever they have playtest available. But yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the new affixes, if you like them, if you don't think they're good for the game, and how you think about the CC change. So yeah, have a good one, guys. Like and subscribe if you can. It helps me out a lot. And peace out.